Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer, welcome back to European Truck Simulator 2, and welcome to Honningsvåg, which I believe, and I do make an effort with my Scandinavian geography, but I believe this is Norway. Yeah, this is the North Cape. Is it not? Yeah, this is where Norway sort of wraps around Finland. So I did deadhead up here on that crazy beautiful road, which I believe is called the Northern Lights Highway? The Northern Lights Road, and I did find a cargo to take, and we're not going to take it super far. We're going to take it back down that road, and we're going to head toward Murmansk. And I'll show you when we get picked up. I'll show you what we're going to do and why I want to do it that way. So I also realized at the end of the last episode, when we were getting ready to leave, is that Spitsbergen, the Longyearbyen, that archipelago that we were on way out in the middle of the ocean. When I was looking for a cargo, I clicked on a tab, and I thought it was saying that it was just hospital waste and chlorine gas that was leaving that island. But what I was actually doing was I was clicking on a city that we hadn't discovered yet, and as a result, it was showing me more or less every cargo that there was to deliver on the entire map. You know what I'm talking about. So there is more leaving that island, or less, I suppose, than just hospital waste and chlorine gas. But I thought it was odd that those were the only cargoes, and it turns out those aren't, of course. They're just the first cargoes that are listed in the directory of, like, everything that's on the map. Right. So we did select cargo market, not freight market. So we're going to put this cargo on our pin trailer. Get us in neutral here. Set the brake, and we are taking, where is it? We're taking these carrots to Ivalo. It's not that far. It's only 348 kilometers, but I want to go here to Murmansk. The only other jobs go like down in this area, and then we'd sort of have to backtrack. So at this point, we can just go straight, almost due east to Murmansk, and then we will begin heading down through the beyond the Baltic area. Finally, we'll get into this DLC finally, and sorry, here it is. This is Finland. Although I believe part of the DLC is up here, and then the rest of it is represented down here. Sorry about the flickering. And then ideally, we're going to make our way all the way down to Greece, where we have not been yet, including out to Cyprus. Right. Let's take the job. And, you know what? How do you feel about flipping it around? You want to do it live? We'll do it live. We'll do it the real way. So we are still in our Volvo. I downloaded a couple of mods. I've been really pulling back from mods the past, oh, I don't know, maybe month or 6 weeks. And I think playing the RPGs and the shooters had something to do with it, because those games are, for the most part, they're just done. You buy them, you know, you buy the gold pass or the season pass or the whatever, and you're just done. You know, there's no real mod life in that type of game, or at least in those particular games that I was playing. And it got me spoiled, I have to say, because so much of sim gaming, or at least on the ATS, ETS, and farm sim side, so much of what we do with these games, other than playing them, obviously, but so much of what we do is like tracking down mods and updating mods and chasing mods, and I do enjoy that. I do. But I get a little tired of it sometimes, you know what I'm saying? And I think I had so many sims going and so many mods going that it really was getting to the point where I was spending as much time, or in some cases I think even more time, chasing mods and keeping mods updated than I was playing The Sims. Part of that is because I have a YouTube channel now. I think I could say that I'm coming up on 500 videos. It's a small channel, but I mean, I think I can count myself as a YouTuber. And I definitely want to bring you like the latest and greatest. And concentrating and missing anyway. Oh my goodness! Would you believe that I play this game all the time? Because man, I do struggle with the whole backing up thing. So I do like to, you know, bring new things to the channel. New mods, new sims, that sort of thing. And so for that reason, I think, as well as the fact that I just kind of enjoyed it, I was spending a lot of time chasing mods. Perhaps too much. And so getting into those RPGs that are just kind of a one and done proposition, I have to say it got me a little bit spoiled. And I'm going to straighten her out here. And I got in the habit of not messing with mods the way I have in the past. Right. Set the brake. Engine off. Let's load her up. Let's see what we got back here. I imagine it's just going to be a little intermodal container. Sure enough. Beautiful. Oh, pardon me. Alright, so the mod that I did get is by Alex D, and it is 5500K headlights with flare. So we will see. I'm not sure. I think, yeah, that looks pretty blue-green. I think it is going to work with this truck. It's for this truck, but this is a mod version of the Volvo. But I think, we'll see when it gets dark, but I think it's going to work. And what was the other one? Some of the Jazzy Cat packs updated. Wow, that's a pretty good frame rate. Pretty good frame rate and looking pretty crisp. I like it. And that's really it. Grimes updated some of his weather mods, but we're not running any at the moment. He updated Paris Rebuilding. We're nowhere near Paris, so I don't have that loaded at the moment. And yeah, it's just been, I've been pretty chill when it comes to mods. The past, oh, I'd say 8 or 10 weeks. And it's been a nice kind of a break from it. I was getting out of hand. I do that. I have problems with moderation. I blame the OCD. But it's nice to, I guess, lean back into mods in sort of a structured way. You know what I'm doing, and this is something that I was not able really to do in the past when I was on serial number games. The Steam Workshop is fantastic. If you find a mod that you like, and most of the popular and good mods are made by solid and reputable mod makers, but if you find a good mod that you like, they're typically updated and maintained pretty well by the mod maker. And so you don't necessarily have to chase them. You don't necessarily have to look for updates on dodgy mod sites. They update themselves via the Steam Workshop. So that has been super cool for me. The last non-serial number game that I have, reverse that, the last non-Steam game that I have, the last serial number game that I have is FS17. And I deleted it when 19 came out. Ironic that I just uninstalled 19 after having reinstalled 17. But I uninstalled 17 when FS19 came out. I was just going to commit to FS19 completely. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we drive. But when FS19 turned out to be, you know, not maybe quite ready for prime time, I went ahead and reinstalled FS17, and I had deleted all my mods, all 600 or so of them. But I went back through and I downloaded just the ones that I could think of off the top of my head that I was using. And obviously, you know, the classic ones like Courseplay and Follow Me and that sort of thing. Those were easy. And then there were some others that I had to search around a bit for. But I ended up with about 150, maybe 200 mods. And that's a lot by some people's standards, I'm sure. But for me, that's, wow, it's essentially a third of what I had previously. But it's plenty. It's plenty. So I guess it's a combination of things then, if you want to look at it from that perspective, where on the one hand, because I'm on the workshop for ATS and ETS, that simplifies my life there quite a bit. And because really the only mods that I need to chase manually now, rather than ATS, ETS, Farm Sim, etc., etc., it's really just FS17, and even that is sort of done. So I guess what I'm getting at is I wanted to step away from chasing mods. Getting into the RPGs kind of gave me an opportunity to do that. And then on top of that, as I came back out of that, I realized I don't have that many sims and mods to sort out at this point anyway. So Really? Okay. All right. So, yep, that's what's going on. What else is going on? I'm learning. This is hilarious. I was a gamepad gamer for years because I played on console. Of course, that's your only option. If you're playing on console, you're playing on a gamepad. So I've never really played mouse and keyboard. Now, it's hilarious to go like on Reddit or something and see how mouse and keyboard gamers feel about gamepad gamers. And they really think that we're just like a bunch of hillbillies. Like what kind of a person wouldn't use a mouse and keyboard? What are you, a lunatic? And for something like a driving game, I think a gamepad or a wheel is really the only way to go. But for a first-person shooter, I get where they're coming from. Because I've been just practicing. Not a game. I'm talking about practice. I've been practicing in squad with mouse and keyboard because that is really the only way you can play that game. There's no auto-aim. And, yeah, you are not going to play that game on a gamepad. You can make it work, technically. I looked up a thread to see, can I make this work? And the consensus was, no. You can't. I mean, you can technically make it function, but you will not. You'll just simply be a burden to your squad mates, to your teammates. Because you cannot, there's no auto-aim, and you cannot aim accurately with a gamepad. So, fortunately, I do have, I've got a Logitech G602 gaming mouse that's like 2.5 billion DPI or something ridiculous. And it's got buttons all over it. I never really used it because I was never in a mouse and keyboard game that required it. But, like, now I understand what all them buttons on the side are for. And there seriously are, like, I don't know, there's like 8 or 10 buttons on that mouse. Over and above the right button, left button, etc. And then I've also got the Logitech G13 panel, which I got to use as a side panel for Farm Sim. Never really used it that way. Because I used the gamepad, I didn't really rest my hand on it. And it's got a hand rest. And now it all makes sense because when you combine those two, and I had to go through and program a lot of buttons on the G13, but when you put it all together and you rest your left hand on the G13 and keep it there, and then you've got your right hand obviously on your mouse, when you combine those two in a mouse and keyboard shooter like Squad, it just clicks, so to speak, and it makes perfect sense. And obviously you could not play that game with a gamepad. You could only play with mouse and keyboard, and I feel really fortunate that I have that setup, which honestly I had sort of by accident. Like, I didn't get that setup for mouse and keyboard games. I just got it because it's cool stuff and I like to buy toys. And it works perfectly, as well as it should, because that's what it's made for. But it really is, it's going to be an ideal setup for Squad. That's step one, just getting the buttons programmed. Step two is going to be learning to play the game, and that is going to take, I've seen in threads, 40 or 50 or 60 or 100 hours before you can, like, be of any value to your teammates in that game. And I don't disagree with that at this point. At this point, I am just, moving around the training area, the shooting range, just trying to get comfortable with movement, trying to get comfortable with, getting my gun out, getting it deployed, getting, prone, crouching, getting behind cover, that sort of stuff. I wouldn't say that Squad is an unforgiving game. I would say it's a game that does not offer a lot of assistance. And again, coming from console via PC, it's not that I'm expecting assistance. I think a lot of these games they're designed to be fun and playable. Even when they're challenging, they're designed to be fun. And so there are a lot of things like, aiming assist. Even if it doesn't specifically say that, you realize that, yeah, the games are... I'm trying to avoid the word assisting. I don't know that they're necessarily assisting you, but there are things that are happening in game that keep the game fun. Yes, we are definitely in Norway because I see a Norwegian flag. There's things that happen that keep the game fun, and from a certain angle, you realize, yeah, they're sort of cutting you a break. Well, squad doesn't cut you any breaks, and that's going to take some getting used to, but I am looking forward to it, and I'm definitely looking forward to playing with some other people, because as it is right now, I'm just wandering around the desert by myself shooting at things. But that's just about all you can do at the shooting range. Now it says find some friends and set up on a server. There's plenty of them, and there's always an empty one. And I'm like, yeah, I would do that, but I don't even, I mean, I know how to do that, but I don't know anybody who plays squad, so I would basically be like trying to engage with strangers, which to me is sort of training, which is something I need to do anyway, if that makes sense. Yeah, you get what I'm saying. At some point, I would like to be able to handle myself well enough that I could join a server and be like, hey, I'm just learning what I'm doing. You mind if I tag along with you folks and kind of, you know, learn a little bit more? So their suggestion is do that with 3 friends or 7 friends or whatever. And I'm like, I don't have 3 friends that play squad. I don't even know if I have 3 friends. So it would be like virtually strangers anyway. So let's at least be able to keep ourselves together before we make that move. So I'm going to practice by myself on the shooting range for a while, and then I am going to join a server and see how it goes. It seems like a pretty good community. I know coming out of the Division, which is not the same. I know Division is just a shoot and loot RPG silly game compared to Squad. Squad's a pretty serious game. I will say that the Division community can be pretty cool, but I've also found some incredibly toxic moments in the Division, which is something that it's known for. But I think part of that goes to console gaming in general. Console gaming, I think, can just be a little, you know what I mean? And that's fine. It is what it is. I'm not saying they need to, like, change their ways or anything. It's just not necessarily something that I want to be a part of. So I've had some toxic moments in the Division. I don't know. I think because Squad is such a more serious game and because it's PC only, I'm hoping that it is less toxic. But from what I've seen so far, it is. It is, I guess, a more adult, sort of cleaner atmosphere. So I suspect, I hope, that if I do get on a server with some folks and I need to, you know, make them aware of the fact that, hey, I'm new to the game and I'm just kind of learning my way through here, that they are not gigantic a-holes about that. Right. Twisty road. Extremely twisty road. I deadheaded up here. Well, I mean, I had a trailer on, so I guess I wasn't truly deadheading, but it was empty, so yeah, I'll call it a deadhead. But now I think, in fact, I know that early in my YouTube career, I came down this road the same direction as we're heading right now, with like ridiculous tandems on here, and I somehow made it end to end with no tickets and no damage. Meanwhile, today, I already have a ticket, straight out the box. But what can you do? So that is what's going on there. What else is going on? Yep. I said last video, ATS, I did say I have uninstalled FS19. It's just too, you know, it's just too broken. Losing that save game was kind of the last straw for me. I don't, as well as FS17 is working. And I realize, you know, when I scroll back through the episodes, I realize I said the same thing about FS17. I was kind of burned out on FS17 by the time FS19 came out, and I was really looking forward to just being done with FS17. Now, in hindsight, I can say that I was burned out on FS17, including that endless pursuit of mods. I was burned out on FS17, but FS17 worked. For the most part. If you got too many mods going, you could get some instability. But for the most part, you know, open up your console, look for what's written in red, sort that out, and you'd have a stable game. You're good to go. And not so with FS19. Even running no mods, the game is not stable. And then there's some other things that are broken in it. So I have uninstalled FS19. If there's a big patch, and it could happen before they release this first paid DLC, they could have a big... I guess 1.3 we'd be up to, because we're at 1.2 now, but I'm not super confident I'm really not. I mean, they could surprise me. Cattle and crops could surprise me, and I would be willing to be surprised. I'd be happy to be wrong about either one. I don't know if you know who Timothy Leary is. He's an interesting guy, that Tim Leary. But one of the things he says is, you got to have a chaotic mind. You need to accept at all times that everything you think and everything you know and everything you believe might be wrong. And you need to be the kind of person that if it is demonstrated to you that what you think is wrong, that based on the evidence, you're like, okay, cool, I was wrong. And then you keep moving forward versus, you know, I reject your reality because it's inconvenient to my thoughts. So if FS19, if they were to release a patch, 1.3, and it resolved all the problems, I would be happy to try FS19 again. But as it stands right now, no effing way. It's too frustrating. And like I said, I put 10 hours off camera into getting Marwell Manor set up for the next episode. And the game crashed. Lost my save game, lost backup, lost everything. So the idea of spending another 10 hours off camera doing exactly the same thing with no guarantee that it wouldn't happen again. I mean, I do a weekly backup to a remote hard drive. But I'm not going to do that daily because it's almost 80 gig. It's like pretty much everything that's in my documents, all my save games, Steam saves, mods, everything. I do that about once a week, and it's about 80 gig, give or take. I have no problem doing that once a week, and it only takes like 15 minutes. Thankfully, I have a USB 3.0, and I've got SSD, and I'm super fast. However, the idea that I would need to manually remember to back my farm sim saves up every couple hours because the game could crash and corrupt my in-game save game. At that point, no, it's not worth it. No, it's like carrying 3 spare tires, you know. At that point, maybe I'll take an Uber, you know. At that point, I'm not. You see what I'm saying? Like the process to protect us against something that we think could or is likely to happen becomes so cumbersome that it's like, no, it's not even worth it. Not even worth it. If I think I'm going to get 3 flat tires on this trip, I'll find another way to get there. I'm not taking, I guess it'd be 2 spares. 1, 2. Yeah, 2 spares, 2 flats. You see what I'm saying? 3 tweets. Whatever. So yeah. But we'll stick with Donald Laskowitz and we'll stick with Coldborough Park. And I guess, I mean, I need to figure out circumstances in the past for the channel. Circumstances have sort of dictated that we run out of farm videos per farm after, I don't know, 15, 20, 30, something happens, something changes. I need to figure out how many episodes of a farm I'm going to do if nothing else changes. Right? So with FS17 being essentially done, you know, we need to figure out how many episodes of a farm we're going to do because no external factor is going to say, okay, now, you know, it's time to wrap up. It's time to move on. We're going to have to decide that for ourselves. So I don't know. I mean, I've seen some YouTubers go 25 videos. I've seen some YouTubers go 30 videos, 50, you know. I mean, we could just pick an arbitrary whatever. Say if we get to, you know, €500,000 or €1 million or whatever, and we'll call it good. I don't know. I'm easy. I'm just learning how to do this whole YouTube thing. It's fun, man. It's a hoot. I really, really do enjoy it, but I have no idea what I'm doing. Where are we going here? Right through there. Beautiful. Swing it a little wide. Now, here is another question. What truck do you want to drive next? Because when we get to, is it Ivalo? Yeah. When we get to our destination, we're going to call it. That'll be the end of the episode. But at that point, do we want to pick it up next week? Same truck, new truck, different truck? What do you think? I would like to switch to a new truck. I have, I think, about a dozen trucks in this sim. Unfortunately, like 5 of them are Scania. which is not a bad thing. Scania makes a lovely truck. It's beautiful. It's just they are, I think, because of the RJL Scania and the fact that there are, well, I guess there's like two models from most brands in the shop, but you know what I'm saying. And the joke is that this is Scania Truck Simulator. In fact, it was Scania Truck Simulator before it was ETS1, was it not? Yeah. I think that may be the reason why. But at any rate, we have like 5 Scania and then 7 of every other brand. So we'll need to decide what we want to do next. So I'll, I don't know, maybe I'll surprise you. I would say expect a new truck next ETS episode. I just don't know what it'll be yet. And I always try to keep it like appropriate. Now it is springtime, although we're pretty far north, so it's like it's getting. Whoa. Okay. Oh, game. Was it just me, or did they not stop at all? Did they really just not stop at all? What can you do? What was I talking about? What was I saying? I can't even remember. I just got broadsided by a police car, and then I took damage and I got a ticket for it. Kind of the definition of not cool. Come on. There we go. So, what was I going to say? I can't remember. I really can't remember. Oh, I do remember now. I always try to drive trucks that are appropriate, and it's just beginning to get a little bit green where I am in the real world. I don't think it would be this green this time of year, this far north, but maybe. So I tend to think of, like when I think of Iceland, I think you'd want a pretty burly truck to drive across the interior of Iceland. Now, I realize it's not like the surface of the moon. I get that. Like, there's traffic out there and, you know, safety safari, rescue services, whatever. But it is a pretty, you know, and northern Scandinavia is a pretty harsh area. So I tend to think of, like, burlier trucks for this part of the world. And I also think you would, you know, hotels are going to be maybe a little more, you know, a little fewer and further between up in this part of the world. So, whoa, we are going really fast. There we go. So you would definitely want something with a not just a sleeper, but maybe a bigger sleeper. So I have a few. So yeah, well, let's agree to that. Me and you, let's make a deal. Next episode, new truck, and I'll surprise you with what it is. And I'm trying to think of something we haven't driven a whole lot. I'll think of something. I will think of something. Now, next question is 71 kilometers. How far is that? That's it's about half an hour. Good gear here. It's about half an hour, which is about 6 minutes of real time. Okay, so that'll put us about 35 minutes for the episode. Assuming everything is accurate. Assuming that sign is accurate and my speed is good, and you know what I'm saying. But I think about 6 minutes. 6 minutes, Dougie Fresh, you're on. Yeah. I think we'll make it. I think we can make it 40 minutes of game time. About 5 or 6 minutes of real time before we get sleepy. And we also, I don't know how much time we have to deliver this job. Moment. Oh. We have 3 hours to get there. 3 hours to get the job there. I'm trying to hit too many buttons here. 44 minutes. Okay. Well, somehow my estimate was exactly spot on, which is always both pleasing and surprising. And also, yeah, it's not worth stopping. The job would be late for one thing, because it's got to be there within 3 hours, and we're only 45 minutes away. So let's just take it in. Yeah, let's just do it. Let's just do it. And then I will, yeah, as soon as I stop recording, I will, I'll go to the garage and figure out what I'm going to do. Now, we have enough money. I think we have close to €1 million. Over €1 million. 1.4 million. Let's just buy a garage in Ivalo. And then I'll teleport the truck. I'll fast travel the truck to it instead of doing that thing with the console. You know, I don't mind doing that, and I do that anytime I swap out a truck in a town that doesn't have a garage. I just pick up the new truck, which generally takes us back to Reims, and then I'll go ahead and teleport to whatever city we were in last episode. As long as it's off camera, I feel like that's okay. But I don't necessarily like doing that. I want it to be career mode, but I also don't like role play it. You know, I've seen YouTubers do that. I can't say that I do or don't like it. It's cool in a way. It's sort of silly in another way, but it's funny when I hear a YouTuber talk about something like, you know, our driver, whatever, Desmond. Our driver Desmond brought this truck up here because he and his wife are fighting because you know, whatever. And they have like a whole bio and a whole backstory for each one of their drivers. And the bio and the backstory determines like what their drivers will do or what they won't do, or you know, how far they want to drive, and when they're leveling up their drivers, like what direction they want. It's just, man. And it's one of those things that it doesn't hurt anything, you know, so it's not necessarily the kind of thing that you would get upset about, even if you were the kind of person that got upset about things like that. But at the same time, it's like, man, that is some kind of immersion you got going on there. That is like immersion beyond immersion. That is role-playing. However, I did used to play tabletop games, pen and paper games, and I have seen some things in my life when it comes to them there Dungeons and Dragons players. My friend, I won't even say his name. I won't say his name out loud. Nah, it's not like that. It's not like Voldemort or anything. I just don't want to embarrass the guy. But we were playing D&D, and he had a character. He'd had the same character. Been playing the same character for like 3 years. And I want to say, yeah, he was in grad school, and he'd been playing the same character since he was like freshman in college or something. And oh, there it is. Now, is this, yeah, this is, let's do it this way. Let's go in here, turn around, and come out, and then go back in. So he'd had the same character for several years, multiple years, and he tried to jump across a volcano. And he got all kinds of killed, all kinds of dead. And he went out in the backyard for like, I don't know, a good like half hour, 40 minutes to like come to terms with that, kind of make peace with that. But he was devastated. So I definitely get it, you know, that people do get involved in their gameplay. And in fact, I was talking about that in a farm vid. Yeah, Coldwater Park Farm. I was talking about immersion. And you know, how people feel about immersion and how far they take it. And there's no right or wrong way to be immersed. There's no right or wrong way to play games. I give people a little shit. Just a little, though. Because there are certainly, you know, habits that I have, things that I do when I'm gaming that you could just as easily, like, give me shit about it. So, you know what I mean? You do you. That's my policy. You do you. If it makes you happy, I'm your biggest fan. If it makes you happy and you're not hurting anybody, you tell me what I can do to support you, and I will. Because this life is, it may not always be hard, but it ain't always easy. And if you found something that makes you happy, I want to support you in that. So, if you want to be a role-playing gamer, you have at it. Right, here we go. Let's see how we did. Okay, we are on time. We took damage to the trailer, but not the cargo. Fantastic. We got hardly any XP. That's okay. That's okay. We don't have that many more levels to go. Now, I'm going to take a quick look at something, but we're not actually going to do this. I'm just curious if we can find anything going to Murmansk. And no. The answer is no. So what I might do is I might deadhead to a town in between. Yeah. Maybe I'll deadhead right up here, and then we'll either take a job to Murmansk, or, I don't know, we'll figure something out. Cool. Let me get out of here. Folks, thanks for stopping back to check out the Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of European Truck Simulator 2. And we'll see you next time. Take care.